Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Spooky Japan Podcast. Hoping everyone is doing well. She's here, but physically and mentally kind of not here. She's in pain and also tired, just waking up. So, how you doing, Irene?
Not bad. It
Irene, didn't
hurts.
Japan just recently have a holiday here?
It's an event. It's where you sit and you watch the rabbits pound sticky rice on the moon. So, yeah. And it's just a presentation of the harvest moon.
Hmm.
So, I don't know where they got that idea.
And you made some food for it?
No, I didn't. I just bought it.
Oh, okay. You showed earlier you had a little rabbit food or whatever
Yeah,
you want to.
it's it's usually steamed and it has. Iko chodai usagi. Here we go. See? And it has sticky rice. And it's just steamed sticky rice, and it has sweet red beans inside. You sit then you watch the rabbit spawns, um, sticky rice on the moon. And you eat these little treats. Actually, they're really good.
Really.
Anyways, today we have a very special guest with us today, Viking Cat Paranormal. How you guys doing in there?
We're doing great. How are you guys?
We're doing pretty good. So, for our listeners out there who may not be aware of who you are, go ahead and introduce yourself and where did your guys' journey into the paranormal begin?
I'll let her go first.
My name is Meredith. I am in the United States, state of Maryland, born and raised. I got into the paranormal, not seeking it, but kind of found me as a child. And as I got older, I just started to kind of give in and start doing some research and kind of delved into the paranormal a bit deeper and researching different aspects of it, why it happens, when it happens, to who it happens, and kind of brought me to this point.
And I'm Brian, and that's exactly what I was going to say. But it's similar. Very young age. First experience was my grandfather visiting me like every night. And I remember vividly like my parents watching Unsolved Mysteries. And I always loved the ghost part. Well, the cryptids and stuff too, but the ghosts especially. But that it always fascinated me my whole life, the paranormal. And so over the years, just kind of like here and there, I delved into it. I started investigating when I was in middle school. So 20 years so ago.
Just
No,
100 years
I'm
ago.
sorry, over 20 years ago. Cause, I got, well, I don't know how long. It was a long time ago. I'm old. I'm sorry. Yeah. So anyhow, but it's always kind of been my thing, and for the last several years, I really wasn't letting people know I was still into that because it wasn't really the norm with the people around me until I met her, and then we just instantaneously were like paranormal, and we
Oh,
we decided to kind of start our own group and get out there and do our own thing.
I always wondered how that happens with married couples. They're married for anyone out there who didn't know. They're not just hanging out in the same house.
We're roommates.
Yeah, your rent's overdue.
Oh, I'll pay you later.
Don't forget to pay tax on that.
Oh, in this state where we live in, there will be.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Oh,
So, where has been your favorite place to investigate?
Oh gosh, I'd probably have to say Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Kentucky. That place was pretty active. Definitely left an imprint on me.
and Penhurst Asylum for me in Pennsylvania. I've been there multiple times. It's like my favorite place to go. I have a kind of weird connection for it. You know, I don't know what it is about that place. It's just connection.
Mm.
I think we hear, I think we hear Waverly a lot. So
Mhm.
it's definitely, it has to be an interesting place to see.
I haven't been. I can't wait to go.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had
Mm.
a lot of activity there. Fifth floor, where they said the two nurses passed away. I think I definitely connected with one of them. Um, I think it's the third floor where they report the shadow figures. I actually had one slam me up against a wall.
Ooh,
Mm.
It's scary.
Mm.
We had a lot of like disembodied voices of like wheezing. And like one of the histories of that location is being a tuberculosis hospital. That was one of many things that location was. We had activity in the children's playroom. And a lot of that stuff even happened before we even set up to do our investigation. We were just kind of walking through, touring the location, kind of getting our, feels out for the place. And we were having more activity in broad daylight than we did
Mm.
when lights went off.
Ooh.
have you had any other scary experiences somewhere paranormal?
Yeah. I've lived in a few places actually where the activity was pretty terrifying. There was a place in Texas I lived, what I suspected to possibly be a poltergeist, was affecting my animals, was affecting me. Um, I got jumped at Harper's Ferry, which is another historic location, and our own property that we live on now, has got a lot of activity, good and bad.
A haunted homestead, we call it.
Mm.
That's how a lot of people also get started paranormal, is just haunted house.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Noreen can tell
Especially.
you most houses here in Japan are haunted. Obviously, it's
Uh-huh.
one of the older countries out here with a lot of history.
Hmm. Good and bad. And sometimes you might need a medium just to see if if your property that you're gonna buy or you're gonna rent is safe or not.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I know you
Yeah,
connect to
and
them, Irene.
ugh.
It
Yeah.
runs in her family, so
I know.
luckily
That's what you
she
said before.
wasn't when she bought her house. She wasn't into her gift yet, so luckily she had her son, who was.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah,
that. That's
yeah.
awesome.
I got into my gift afterwards after I got um possessed twice, so
Oh boy.
that was a I didn't even know what the heck I was doing. I said,
Now you.
what?
Oh geez. But now it's you know now, right? So, right?
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
important. But I mean, still, you went through those experiences, which are tough.
Mm.
I can't imagine going through that.
Yeah, I don't even know what the heck happened to me. Afterwards, then I came off, I said, what? What happened? And then you start hearing things, you go, uh-oh. You said, oh no, what the heck happened to me now? I always had it, I think. I just got into it a little bit later, but I always supported my children who saw things, but afterwards I thought, okay, I understand you, but I really don't. But now I said, oh my god, what the heck did I get myself into? But
You're like, oh, I knew the
you
whole
have to,
time.
yeah. Now you hear everything, you go, ooh, I don't know if I want this. You, and then you hear other people say, you know what? I wish I had your gift. I said, no, you don't.
That's
You really
exactly
don't.
what she says.
yeah.
Exactly what she
Most
says.
people say they want it. I keep telling them, don't wish for something that you don't know how bad it could be. It's not fun. Not
No,
fun
it's
at all.
horrible, actually, the truth. It's with you 24/7 when you wake up and when you go to bed, right?
Yep, and all night while you're trying to sleep, they wake
Yeah,
me up.
yeah. You hear things when you're sleeping, you go, do you mind? Can you go to a hotel? I can't.
Let's just follow.
4 a.m. 4 a.m. Huh? What? Leave me alone. Let me go
In the
back to
shower, I
bed. You
hope
wake up
not.
in the morning. When you wake up the next morning, you go,
Yeah.
That's her.
Yeah, you feel like you've been hit by like two school buses, and you go, "Ooh." Say, good morning. I said, "Ooh, good night. I want to go back to bed."
4 a.m. She wakes up and there's one trying to bother her, and she's like, "Look, I have business hours. Come back then."
Yeah,
Put a,
That's
yeah,
what I need to do.
put a
Yeah.
sign on your door that says like "Do not disturb."
Out of
nah, that doesn't work either. It doesn't work, doesn't it?
No,
no.
nothing really seems to work.
Like, oh,
Mm-mm.
that sign doesn't pertain to me, right?
Yeah.
To come bother you.
And then you take a ton of sleeping pills. You try to go to bed. Going to bed is toughing up. Waking up, you go, huh? What do you want? No thanks. Yeah. Bye bye. Like, and then you hear another one say, "Oh hi." I go, "Who are you?" Like, I didn't know I had office hours at 4 a.m. No thanks. Yeah, it's tough. Like everything, we don't have to go and rent haunted places because you go out your front door. There's something haunted right outside your front door.
Yeah,
Especially with Amanda and my place. It's a little bit different, but her place, they're a little bit darker, so they'll come and look at you automatically, just like, like, what are you gonna do about it? And say, okay, nothing. Okay, see ya.
oh boy.
Yeah, they're in your face no matter what you do. And they'll come and they'll look at you and you'll say, yeah, okay, like, don't bother me and I won't bother you. Okay, see ya, bye bye. They're like that. They don't care, right, Amanda? They don't give a hoot.
No.
No, they'll
I
come up
wish
and
you could rent private places here in
mm-mm,
Japan to investigate like you can in the States.
mhm.
But it's not a thing here, and that's because that's one of the first things I looked into when I got to Japan. I was like, I'm gonna I'm going to rent places. I'm going to investigate places. I'm going to join the
Yeah.
paranormal community in Japan. Can't wait to go back to the States and tell everyone about the paranormal community in Japan. And then I couldn't find a team. I couldn't find haunted locations to rent. And finally, I found Irene through social media because that's also the number one question I'm asked is how did I find the most beautiful woman in Japan to work with? And I'm like, social media.
That's
And then I told
right.
her, like, I can't find any other teams or haunted locations. She's like, it's just me. There's
Yeah.
not any. You're not gonna find them because I'm the only person you're gonna find, and you found me. So,
Who,
congratulations, you found the paranormal community in Japan.
who will come out and say, yeah, I see things. Yeah, I know it's there. But if you ask anybody else in this country, do you see things? Do you feel anything? They'll say, bye. They'll run. They won't
Yep.
even they won't even admit it, right, Amanda? That's why I was laughing when she was talking because it's true. You won't find anybody. Well, if you find them, they won't come out and tell you that they believe in paranormal.
Right.
They're
And
just
honestly, I
There are
never knew that was a thing until now. Honestly,
mm,
that I recently I figured that out through you guys, but
yeah,
I didn't realize that was such a I know that
Hush, hush.
yeah, such a hush hush thing there.
yeah.
even
If
the
Like
you
people who do videos, like there's some people who do some videos where
yeah
they're behind a camera or their face is blurred or they wear a mask. And
I've
we
never
both tried reaching out to them to
yeah
network or at least be friends. They don't have to come on the show, but at least be friends because we'd have something in common. But they don't want to be friends with me. Irene's reached out, and I'm like, well, Irene should hopefully have better luck.
yeah.
He just gets ha 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 back. I'm like, well, at
That
least you
they go
got that back.
back, and they go, huh? They laugh at me,
is
like,
it like a shame thing there?
Is it just like they're
Or-
embarrassed?
Yeah, or embarrassed kind of thing. Just
Kind
I'm
of
just
like
curious.
uh people are afraid, I think, most likely.
And that
Like, yeah,
yeah, that's usually
it's
what happens.
So
yeah.
we don't have anyone here. Like we don't have demonologists here. We
No.
don't have anyone. So if you feel like your place is haunted, we don't have anyone here to come cleanse it. Irene can tell you because before she had her gift, she lived in a haunted condominium, and
Hmm.
she said it herself. I couldn't find anyone to come help me, so we had to move.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
We
It
had to
really is.
bail. We had to bail. It was that bad. But then how could you cleanse a 140 suite condo, right? Who has which has really bad history, and you don't know the history either because no one's gonna tell you what the history is because there's no vital records. And if you ask the real estate agent, they don't know anything. So it's either they knew or it was shredded, or they just tried to sell rooms in places because even if it's for apartment, they'll try to sell it for so much money, and they won't. There's no disclosure of haunted anything here. So
Right. Gee,
yeah, it's that bad, right?
that's
Even
terrible.
her place is haunted, and yeah, I had to help her a couple times, but yeah,
But
you
at
chase
least you
them
guys
out.
have each other.
Yeah, either you move or you chase them out, and sometimes you can't do anything, so you have to move. Like we bailed really quickly. Like as soon as we found this house, we bought it. We bailed in 10 days. Most of
Wow.
the stuff we threw out because you don't want to bring whatever you had in that place to your new place.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
good point.
yeah. It's and it depends on how bad it is, of whether you should bring it or not. My place was pretty bad, so yeah, I just threw out my curtains, threw out some plastic drawers. I said, I don't need this, I don't need that. Threw out some of my kitchen equipment. Yeah, I'm not gonna buy a new one. I don't care. That's how bad it was. And
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it's hard to deal with, especially you've been hauled in an ambulance so many times, then you go to the hospital, you say, geez, I feel better. And the doctor going, what happened? And I go, yeah, I don't feel so good. Then you go to the hospital, finally they treat you, said, okay, I feel better. And I go home, I go, ooh, I don't feel good anymore, right? So yeah,
Gee.
it's some of the stuff is really bad. It can be bad to worse, and worse to, I don't know what, dead. Yeah, that's what it's like here.
Wow.
Yeah, some of the stuff is so bad you don't want to go, or you pick and choose which place you want to see that's haunted. If you are not careful, um, yeah, you could find yourself sick one day and in a casket the next day.
Let me ask you a question, Irene and Amanda. And if this is touchy subject, please tell me to shut up. But I know
It's
that
okay.
in in Japan, especially, like there's a high suicide rate. Do you
Yeah.
think that plays a lot of part in some of those types
Well,
of cases?
especially in Irene's area more than
Where
I
my
mean, I live
area
in
is in Tokyo.
Nagasaki,
Yeah.
which I should explain earlier. I live in Nagasaki, which is the bottom part of the island. It's more country, more elderly compared to Irene in Tokyo. So like it's always
Right.
two different things. And
In Tokyo, there's a lot of SS. I'm not going to use that word, but yeah, there's a lot of that happening around here.
Oh,
It's
gee.
either because of your job or because the economy or whatever. People will jump in front of bullet trains, um, commuter trains, and stuff like that. So the train stations are haunted, right? Some of the trains are haunted. Um, my area, like you just have to walk outside, you'll see something haunted. Her area is more darker because the history, if you know the
Yeah.
history of between
I.
Japan and America, yeah.
Oh yeah. I know. We know.
That's how her area is more like in your face. My area is like, don't come near me.
That makes
Like,
sense. That does make
yeah,
sense. Yeah.
and you don't want to go near them. You don't want to go near them in my area. Her area, they'll just stand in front of you and say, "Okay, what are you gonna do about it?" They say, "Yeah, okay, I'm gonna walk this way. You're gonna go that way, and I won't bother you, and you won't bother me, right?" It's like that. They're really in your face, so they it's a little bit different. And in my area, you have to be careful.
Okay.
Her area, it's a little bit different. Amanda, how is your area like? Depends. Defer to this area.
Like for us?
No, so over here in my
Oh,
area, I got used to seeing shadow figures just standing and staring at you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was weird at first because I'm like, I'm back in the States. If you see a shadow figure, it's usually,
Mm-hmm.
brief, in and out, or you just see it kind of dark. Here, they'll stand and stare at you. They'll even
Mm-hmm.
make themselves look bigger, so they look tougher. And it's just, when I first saw one standing and staring at me, I was walking my dog, and I'm like, am I really seeing this? Have I lost it? I was looking around because I'm like, am I in a virtual reality? Is this not happening?
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, my dog, she was just 2 at the time. She just turned 2, so she was acting like she's one of those dogs who thinks everyone's put on earth to pet her. So she was reacting like she saw a person and she wanted to go sniff. I'm like, all right, so my dog sees this thing, so it's there. And I just
Mm-hmm.
wasn't used to them saying. Now I'm used to them saying and staring, but usually
Yeah.
it's this is my little area, seeing the other side of the road. So I'm like, yep, all right, I'll leave you alone. I'll go to the other side of the road. I
Mm-hmm.
won't bother you.
Yeah.
I won't do anything.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are also like, how come you don't try to talk to her or take its picture? I'm like, it told me it didn't want me to. And I'm like, I'm not going to find
Mm-mm.
out what happens if I decide to cross its boundaries. I'm like, once the big
Yeah.
boundary's known, because it's just like, this is my little area, staying the other
Yeah.
side of the road if you have to walk over here. I'm like, yep, all right, other side of the road.
And they'll
wow.
go after if you're in pain, they'll go after that painful part. If you don't feel good, they know you don't feel good. And they'll just come after you in the most scariest way you wouldn't believe it. And they don't care if you have they don't care if you have stones on you, they don't care if you have protection on you, they'll just come after you whether you like it or not.
Wow.
That's in her area.
No,
Wow.
the stones, I don't think the stones mean anything to them anyways.
No,
So
no, 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 no. You can
it,
have all the crystals you have, you can have whatever you want on you, they don't care. It's just like, so what?
There's really no protection, really, honestly.
Yeah. So you can you can be loaded with protection like I did, and yeah, I don't care. I'm gonna come after you whether you like it or not.
Right. Wow.
So
also,
it.
Irene forgot to mention one of the reasons why the SS rate is so high in Japan is obviously Japan is mostly a Buddhist country, and
Mhm,
Buddhists have a belief that if you're not happy in this life,
mhm.
you are allowed to unalive yourself and start again in the next life.
Oh, wow. I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
There is no, in my part of Japan, there is no psychiatrist. That's one thing they had to make sure before we came over here is mental health. You need to be okay because if you need anything mental health related, you're not going to get it where I am.
Where I am, you can get it, but people find that they don't want to talk about their feelings, so they keep it inside, and they'll do something about it. That's what they'll do about it. So
Wow.
yeah, it's
Definitely a different place than the US.
yeah, it's it's a great place to visit. Don't knock it because it is a beautiful place to visit. You can see all the temples and see all the beautiful sights and scenery and stuff like that. It's just that some places close at 9 o'clock, so you can't get in there. Certain parks close at 9 o'clock because you can't get in because of the history.
Wow.
Um, if you stay later than 9 o'clock, um, after the war, they made a whole bunch of beaches. They made a whole bunch of parks out of it, and some of the parks are really horribly haunted. The shores in one part, of a park that I know by my relatives told me, don't be there after 9 o'clock. And I said, why? Because they'll take you and there won't be any sign of you that you've ever been there. And you'll have a search party and they won't find you. Which means they will take you body and soul and everything else and you won't find anything there.
Wow, that's insane. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's scary. But if you ask anybody else about certain places, they will not tell you or you'll not find it because there's no such thing as vital records. There's no such thing as finding anything on Google because it's not gonna come out. It's not gonna come up either. Like I tried looking at certain parks that are haunted. They're just not gonna write it in there, and
Hmm.
they just dump it. They'll just scrap it if there is something there that happened a long time ago. And there's lots of places like that here that they're not gonna tell you or you will not be able to find it. The only people that'll help you is older people, like about 80 or 90 years old, the elderly, because they lived through everything, right? And they'll be able to tell you what happened and when it happened. And there are legends about it, but anybody else?
But in general, they just don't want people to know.
Yeah.
Wow.
And if it
Someone
was,
also said that I was trying to reach out. There is someone who also who wrote several books about urban legends of Japan. I tried reaching out. They don't want to
no,
they're one of those people who don't want to be friends or anything, but they did at least answer one of the questions there. Why do they
mhm,
think that people aren't really into the paranormal in Japan? They did at least answer that for me as well, and they said it's because people are more superstitious than
mhm,
religious in Japan,
mhm,
which makes
Uh,
sense because they're like
yeah.
if you look at any of the temples, the more successful ones have some superstition behind it. Like if I go here and I do this, I'll find true love.
yeah,
There's a lot of those here, and there's other ones that have like that. That's the most successful ones that have something like that
yeah,
behind it. But it's also he also said it's also because like the kids view the stories view the stories of the urban legends more as punishment than warnings. And I get it because a lot of them are, as Irene can tell you, keep your house clean or this cryptid could come in your house.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And have your and every the end of February we we have um an event where it's such a moon where you throw dried soybeans at a person who wears the devil mask, and the devils live in the mountains. And if you don't do this event, they'll take your kids, and you'll never see your kids again. So yeah, it's everything revolves around paranormal, right? From when you're born as a child and when you go to school, it's like every child watches something about paranormal on Cartoon Network or on um Japanese cartoon station they have here. Yeah, everything revolves around paranormal. They know it's there. You're taught at a very young age what to do, what not to do, and how to eat certain way. And yeah, and be careful you don't do this, and be careful you don't do that. So if you come to Japan, there are rules on how you eat.
Mhm.
And where you put your soup, where you put your rice, make sure you don't put your rice on the right hand side, and make sure you have your rice on the left hand side, and you have the soup on the right hand side, and not to stab your rice with chopsticks and let it stand up because that's what you do in a funeral, right? Yeah,
Okay.
Don't do that, or everyone in a restaurant will stare at you.
yeah,
Don't
and they'll say,
don't do
and
that.
somebody might approach you and say, you can't do that, like.
So if they're staring at you at a Japanese restaurant here, it's because you're eating, like she said. Don't You're doing something that's not
Yeah.
what's the word I'm looking for?
Custom.
Yeah, it's not because you're doing one of those. So like definitely, that's also one thing I think of is like if you have to step away from your food, definitely don't keep the chopsticks in it.
Yeah, put it on in front of you, laying sideways. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just they have really weirdly weird ideas about certain things. Like when I first came, I go, okay, can't do this. Okay, can't do that. Okay, can't sleep on the. You can't sleep facing east, and your head facing west because that's how we lay dead people here. And at the funerals, right? Their heads pointing east and their bodies pointing west, and they go, okay, can't do that. So you have to face north and south. So, and most houses are north and south, but never east to west. It's just it's like a superstition thing,
Right.
and yeah, it's just and never clutter your entrance into your hallway when you come in the door. Um, yeah, always keep your entrance really clean because you don't want to invite certain things in your home. Like, it's so listable this long.
It
So
is
By
if
the time,
actually in a.
yeah.
It is actually in the lease here down in this part of Japan. Probably is in Irene's area too. It is
Hmm.
actually in a lease to an apartment or condo that you cannot wear shoes inside the house.
Yeah,
Entranceway, that's it.
yeah. You
I
leave
know
your
that's
shoes.
like one of the biggest traditions I've always known in the Asian culture is
Yeah,
the new
even in
student.
hotels, even
Yeah.
hotels have put on there. There's a huge fee if you're fine wearing shoes inside the place.
Oh,
Yeah.
a fee.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez. Well, so
Yeah.
if we ever come to stay longer than a week, we should probably call you guys for help.
Yeah. We'll take you places too if you want to.
Absolutely. But we
We
have
got.
to go investigating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hush, hush about it.
Just don't tell anyone we're going investigating.
Uh, I don't care. Like my
Irene
whole
goes. Yeah,
family's
Irene's
creepy.
different. I
Yeah.
always tell people, if you're watching Spooky Japan and you think a lot of Japanese people are like Irene, you're wrong. That's also why a lot of Japanese don't like foreigners is they're not confrontational.
Mm-hmm.
So if you come in there, because we'll see a lot of people come for some odd reason. We've seen a lot of people come to Japan just act ruder than they would back in the states, and they actually say the states is not the number one rudest tourist. It's other countries. They act rude. They don't know what to do because they're not confrontational on what to
Mm-hmm.
say.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Irene who will tell you to f off. Like, I was like, if you're watching, if you think everyone's gonna be like Irene, you're wrong. Unfortunately, they're the opposite. Irene is her own little.
But they're not wrong either. We suck.
No, we do. That's what I tell people, and I'm like, the best example I can give is there's been so many times
Mm-hmm.
we've gone to a restaurant, and it'll be another American at the other side of the restaurant, and they start blaring their music so loud I can't even hear the person next to me.
Yeah.
That's happened so many times, and we're all looking at them like this is rude as hell. People are
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't see that here in America. I'm like, I've seen it so many times here over here. It's ridiculous.
It's
Or
ridiculous.
even recently, and I don't know, they even recently there'll be people who put their conversations on the loud, on the
Speaker.
speaker and turn it all the way
Oh,
up
Yeah.
so people outside the restaurant can hear. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, you can't. They don't do that here in Japan. Rin can tell you, you're out in public. They don't usually even use their phone, let
Nope.
alone on the speaker and all the way
Yeah.
up.
we don't want
Um.
people doing that here. We hate
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, it drives us crazy.
here, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah. Some restaurants won't even allow you to use your phone while you're eating.
You're not
Um.
supposed to, but unfortunately
Oh.
they do. And like I said,
Yeah.
they're not confrontational to be like, hey, don't do that.
Yeah.
So
Or they'll kick you out. They'll usually kick you out if you do that here in this country. You
Right.
can't. You
down here
can't.
they won't because they don't want they're afraid you're gonna
Oh,
be
here they
confrontational.
will.
They
They'll
don't.
kick you out here. Maybe not there, but here they'll kick you out. You can't use your phone when you're on the train. You can't use your phone. You can, as long as you don't have your volume up, watching something, as long as you have earbuds in, you're okay. When you're on the train or on your bus, but you can't talk to anybody on the bus and on the train. They'll even have a sign there that says, "Do not use your phone." It's like a real big, huge X on it. So
Wow.
you have to be careful in public.
That's what I tell
Um,
people.
yeah.
They come to Japan. I'm like, just because you're on a train, don't think you can sit there and have conversations with people on your phone.
No, no. And they'll even have the conductor tell you to turn off your phone, please, if that happens
I
on a
think that's
train.
fair.
Yeah. People on a bus will, in this part of Japan, people on the bus say, turn off your phone.
You're not
Yeah,
supposed to. You either don't talk or you don't talk above a whisper.
yeah. Or you can text. That's what I usually text. I'm on the bus. I'll be home in so many minutes. I'll call you when I get home. Like
Oh, she
Wait,
did
what?
that to me. I tried to get a hold of her, and she's like, "I'm on the train. I'll talk to you in
so
whatever."
many. Yeah.
Which do that in public anyway. If you're like in a public space, especially a
Mhm.
confined space, why can't you text? Why do you have to be like on
Mm.
the phone? You know, like nobody cares about your life.
No,
I'm
they don't
sorry, I
want to
just
hear
feel
you. They don't want to hear you, right? Yeah.
no. I don't want to hear you.
No,
No offense.
I
I
didn't
don't
understand
either.
that either. When the person we were staring at them when they're in a restaurant, we're like, you can't tell them, "Hey, I'm eating. I'll call you back." You actually have to put on speakerphone, and
Right. Ugh,
Ugh.
Americans.
yeah, I hate saying that. That's the one. Yeah, when
Mm.
I first moved here, someone said you're gonna look at other Americans and say "fucking American" like you're not one. If you don't, you're
I say
probably gonna have
that.
an issue. Which
Yeah.
I didn't understand that until I started people watching them be rude, like
Mm.
blaring their music on one side of the restaurant. I'm like, why? Why are we playing music in a restaurant? That's the one time. That's the first time I was like, "fucking Americans," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay, I get it." You look at other Americans.
I served in the military in the U.S. and I still say fucking Americans.
Yeah, that's
They
what
just
I did
suck.
here.
Yeah.
I mean, they suck. We suck. We suck.
Yeah, that's what.
You can't speak loud. You can't drink if you're going to a certain temple. You're not supposed to drink water or anything. But yeah, you're not supposed to eat there either. So you have to. It's like going to church. It's sacred place, so you can't drink or eat.
I think that's
And
fair.
yeah, and
You're
you
also
have
not
to.
supposed to walk around and eat. Like just because you buy street food doesn't mean you can walk around on the street and eat it. It just means you stand there, eat it, throw it away
Yeah,
at their little.
yeah,
If they have a trash can there, usually it's have like a bag or something because you have to carry your
yeah,
own trash home, throw away
yeah,
later.
yeah.
Minus the lack of ghost hunting, I'm kind of liking this custom stuff over there.
Um, ghost hunting. You can go. It's usually fenced off certain areas that are really bad, because they don't want something happen to you. It's not that it's more like they're scared if something happens to you. It's like they're pulling resources to find you. So it's usually fenced off. You can go to the location, right? Some locations you can't enter. Um, it's at your own risk, actually, to tell you the truth. Um, some places you have to pick and choose which location you want to go to, depending on how bad it is. Could be really bad, or it could be, well, be careful. If you have visitors latching on to you too, because that could happen too. You just have to be really vigilant, and how strong you are inside. If you're really grounded, yes. If you're not, just don't bother, because they will attack you, and it can be scary.
Wow.
But also
Yeah,
introduce yourself before entering the location. As I tell
yeah,
people, I know back in America, you book the location, you set up, and then maybe you say, "Hey, I'm Brian. I'm here to just want to talk." You do that first here before you even enter. Maybe even do a little
yeah,
bow, just because, as I tell people, it's the equivalent if I went to your house and knocked on your door. "Hey, I just want to chat," compared to in
yeah,
America or here in Japan, if you just walk in, set up, then say it, it'd be the equivalent of I just walked to your house, kicked in your
yeah.
door, and then told you I want to talk.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
Yeah, I'd be pretty pissed off.
yeah,
You
that's how
have
they view
to.
it. That
Yeah.
even the ones that are friendly here tend to get
Mhm.
angry that you just walked in first. They're like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
you just walk in my house.
Yeah. You have to ask permission to walk in the house too.
Yeah, even if it's
Eh,
abandoned, you still ask permission.
Yeah.
Fair.
It,
Then they might be more friendly to talk to compared to now I'm angry. You just walked in my house, set up, and then introduced yourself. Okay.
yeah. Get out.
I think we should start doing that here
Yeah.
in the
I mean,
United States.
Yeah, I never
Honestly.
thought about that until I was here, and I'm like, I wonder if I should have done that back in the States, if that would have made a difference.
Yeah, like I should stop kicking in people's doors and then saying, "Hi, I'm Brian. I want to talk."
Yeah.
Also, do you have any ghosts in your house?
I just want to talk to the
Oh,
ghost.
yeah. You don't say that here because they're looking. You go, get out of my house.
Really should get better about that.
People are afraid, most likely. I think because they want to appease them, like make them happy. Um, or they'll just kick them out.
Well, the one
And I
thing I
think,
realized though is over here, like I said, we don't have any demonologists or anything, so they're also afraid if I make the spirit angry, I don't know what to do, which
yeah,
is fair. No one's really over here been taught about what to do if you make them angry. So they're
yeah,
the only thing they know what to do is build shrines to them. They're like, we're just gonna build a shrine, we're gonna call it a day, and hopefully that's
yeah,
enough to appease this thing where it's not gonna be vengeful.
yeah. And your relatives, you feed them every morning. You give them water every morning, um, to appease them. Um, it's like, I'm gonna do this for you, and I'm gonna do that for you. Don't come near me. Yeah, it can be a scary situation in this country. Um, they make whole bunch of shrines and temples because something bad happened. To keep them at bay so they won't come after you, right?
Right.
So they'll make so you see temples and shrines, and there's a reason why, because something horrible happened. My family shrine, if you see my T-shirt, see, oh, here it is. It's the little Buddha sitting here, right? That's my family shrine, and it's haunted. Like the area is so haunted, like because they had so many samurai warriors die. They built a huge shrine, and it's on the top of a mountain. One side is the ocean, the other side is the forest, and it looks like a step pyramid. But yeah, they built the shrine to appease the dead and to help the dead so they can feel that nothing's gonna happen to them, or you're not gonna do anything to them. But it's some places had scary backgrounds or scary things, and they died a certain way, or they had to assess themselves, and it's really scary. So if you try taking pictures like Amanda did when she went to Kyoto, she went to certain shrines, she took a whole bunch of pictures. It's haunted. Every one of them's haunted. Every one of them, you can see a face on it, or you can see a shadow figure, or whatever, right? And she sent them to me. I go, oh, okay, that one's got that. You just can see all these faces, and then I started circling. I said, I said, I can't circle all of them. They're just loaded, with faces on it. So yeah, uh, that's how bad it is. And the history, like they had a lot of battles a long time ago. Okay, they had a lot of sword fighting. They had a lot of crazy things happen. Like you wouldn't believe it, because it is over 100 some odd years old in this country, right? It's just as bad as England, with so many spirits and so many places that are haunted. It's just good and bad things happen. So they are pretty haunted. And some land is worse than others.
Yeah.
Some shrines you can't go with your husband. Like if you're with your husband, like arm in arm, you can't go together up the shrine that way, because either something bad will happen to you or something bad will happen to your husband, because the something tragedy happened, so they built the shrine to appease that spirit, and then they'll say, okay, I don't like you, I'm jealous of you. Okay, they're very jealous sometimes, and they will say, well, I'm going to do something to you so you'll never forget never to do that ever again. Yeah. So, and then you learn from the people that, oh, you're not supposed to walk with your husband up the shrine. Okay, like you learn that afterwards, right? It's not scary, it's just freaky,
Yeah.
and there is no rhyme or reason, but yeah,
It's really interesting though.
Yeah.
it's
Irene was not joking about the whole train station thing. Because they're in Kyoto, taking a train back to Osaka. Someone actually did jump on the track and they had to clean it up. So they're like, well, this train, for that reason, is now shut down for the next however many hours.
mhm.
And it's interesting because no one was like, oh my. Everyone was like, this again. We'll move
Would
over
you
to this train
believe it?
station.
Yeah, I gotta go to this meeting here.
Yeah, you
Dang
can
it.
tell they were so used to it. They're like, yeah, whatever. Let's just
Yeah,
we move over to this other station, the train station.
yeah,
Wow. And
yeah. It gets
some
gets
places it's not so different here too. That way,
yeah,
certain
it gets
cities and stuff.
yeah. It's messy in this country, right?
I hate to say,
Yeah,
but it does sound that way.
yeah. It's they got stuff on TikTok of the train being stopped, and they bring out the blue sheet, and they have a stretcher coming out, and they go, "Oh, okay, you can watch this." Like they'll show you, and the police comes, and the train station conductor comes, and they go, "Ooh, okay." It's a whole huge scene going on, and people are like, "Move over here, please. Move over here, please." Like we're trying to clean. Yeah, like, like first time when I, when I came, like I'm originally from Canada, okay, but then I moved to Japan because it is part of my
Your
heritage.
mom was from
Yeah,
Japan, wasn't she?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and I'm not used to that stuff happening, right? Yeah, it's just something else, like something you'll never forget. And you don't want to be there because you feel sick to your stomach. You go, ooh, okay. And they won't let you off the train too. They'll close the door so you can't get off. Oof, and you say, I just want to get up, just want to go home. I said, okay, you can't do this. You can't get up. You can't just stay there. So you sit on the train for 3 hours so they can clean the scene so the train can go. And yeah, and they're pretty on time too because they're really sticky about their time. Like if they're supposed to be at a certain station, yeah, you better be sure that they're gonna be there at a certain station. Buses too. If they're gonna be late, they'll tell you, "Excuse me, I'm late," or the train will message, "I'm sorry, we're late. We're running a little bit late because of blah 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 happened." It'll be on the board that this happened. There's an accident, so the train will be 15 minutes late or an hour late. Stuff like that happens. And my daughter used to go to school. One, the next train station over from us, and my daughter would say, she'll call me, and I bought her a cell phone for that one reason. She said, "Mom, I can't come home." I go, "What happened?" She goes, "You know." I go, "Okay, I'm gonna stay at my friend's place tonight." And it happens at 11 o'clock at night, right? What a great time! Like all you want to do is come home, eat dinner, and go to bed. You can't even do that now. Yeah,
That's tough.
yeah, it's really crazy. Big cities have that big problem here. So
Wow.
yeah, if you jump off a building or you go to a hotel, it's haunted. They go, "Oh God, please don't, no." So you have to watch what hotel you even rent too. Make sure it's not haunted. It's just it's a whole new feeling, right? If you're a paranormal investigator, it's really cool. But if you're not, like, ooh, like you won't get much
But that's
sleep
what
at
we
night.
want. We want ooh.
Yeah. Be careful what you want.
That's true.
Yeah, your wife will say, You say, yeah, that's it. Your wife will say, no. Yeah, it's, yeah, they're working hotels too, especially if you're located, especially the hotel is located near a haunted site, it's going to be haunted.
Usually
Because of,
around Mount Fuji, I've heard a lot of
yeah,
people
yeah.
say you don't even have to go directly to Mount Fuji. You could just have a hotel room with the Mount Fuji view, and a lot of people still have ghost stories that made them from skeptics to believers. There's just something about Mount Fuji in general that
Well, Mount Fuji is an active volcano, and it is haunted because
it
long
seems to be
time
a
ago,
magnet for
yeah, yeah,
spirits.
for paranormal.
High
Besides,
magnetic field.
you got
Yeah.
5 dead lakes underneath Mount Fuji. They're really dark. There's no, there's no, I even there's no voices of birds or insects, and they have regular trees growing, but it's just like, ugh, like I've been there. And I said, yeah, I don't want to be there anymore. Okay, let's go. And then you have Mount Fuji itself, which is an active volcano. And scientists used to climb the Mount Fuji a long time ago. And uh, they used to die climbing the mountain or climbing down the mountain because they'd have to measure the lava, amount of lava in the volcano and see how active it is
Hmm.
and see how bad it is. And when they climbed it, they have to climb in the volcano to do
Right.
the study, and yeah, and some of them would die.
Oh, I'm sure.
So it is very haunted, and yeah, and you have the suicide forest underneath Mount
Of
Fuji too.
course. The
Yeah,
infamous suicide forest.
yeah,
That's
and
a
that's
place I'd love to investigate.
I'll take you there. You can't go inside.
I know. I just
I'll
doesn't mean I
take
wouldn't
you.
love to.
Yeah,
But people still go inside, so you can go inside
yeah,
because people have been. Logan Paul cannot come back to
hmm
Japan because he went into a suicide forest and he
Yeah, I heard
hurt
about that.
himself. He found a dead body and he grabbed its foot and started laughing. And I'm like, yeah, he can't come back to Japan after posting that.
Yeah, I remember that whole thing. I do.
Someone said that the government here in Japan banned him because of that reason. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it just wouldn't be safe for him to come back after doing that, though. So that's probably it.
mm-mm. There are some safer places around that area. It's a lot safer than a really bad area. They call it bad area. Okay, there is another area in that area. The same.
In that same forest, yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen.
That.
Because
Yeah.
I
That.
clearly also over here get the same videos of the Japanese. So locals have posted the videos of
Yeah.
bad side. Obviously,
And the
everyone knows this
and
area.
and
Good
not the
side.
horde side, right? So and the energy's a lot different too, isn't it, Amanda?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what they
from
said. They're like, you go on that. You don't want to walk that side, but almost daily we hike this part of the forest just because the vibe is completely different.
hmm
It's almost like a completely different forest, and this half of the forest
hmm
where just it's most serene feeling in place. And they're
hmm
like, yeah, you get to this fork in the road here. Everyone knows, all the locals who hike it knows you don't go to the left. That brings you to the area you don't want to be in. You want to stay to the right, and it just keeps more. It's just more serene.
Yeah. So it's just it's it's a crazy place to visit too. Oh my God! Not
That's
enough.
the ironic part about it is it's supposed to be such a beautiful place, but
hmm
Yeah,
Lots of hidden secrets, apparently.
There is a lot of beauty in it. As long as you don't know the dark side of it, right?
right.
Some of the dark side is really bad too. It's more like, yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah. And sometimes you wish you didn't know about it too. He said, okay, we'll visit here. Just, I'm not going to tell you, all right? There's a lot of alien activity too in this country. Um, we have a lot of earthquakes. Because I live on the
especially
plate.
in Irene's
Yeah,
area.
yeah, we're on the belt, the earthquake belt, and it shakes, rattles, and rolls. um, 4 a.m. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to bed. I don't care. If something falls, who cares? Okay, I'll get new china. Like, I don't care. I'll go back to bed. I said, I'm not gonna do anything. And Amanda said, "Are you okay?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry about it." Like, yeah, it shook. Yeah, okay, we're good.
Oh yeah. There's been podcasts where there's been an earthquake, and I'm like, "Do you need to go, Eric?" Nah, I'll just
Nah,
watch
I'm
everything
just going
shake.
up
It's
the
good.
China cabinet. I'll be fine. Just give me a couple of seconds for
It's just yeah, it's nothing new for her
almost
where
like
she's
this.
so used to it.
You can see it doing this, and you go, "Oh yeah, we're good." uh,
Show
yeah,
must go on.
yeah, yeah. The
Well,
life goes
it's
on,
not
right?
the buildings in Japan are now made obviously to
Hmm.
withstand an earthquake. It's the tsunami that comes after is what
Yeah,
does the damage.
yeah.
Hmm.
And that happened on Japan's seaside. That happened in Fukushima. That happened all over the place. Yeah, that's one place I want to visit. I want to investigate, right?
I'm sure.
Because a lot of people they couldn't find afterwards, right? So yeah, I think it's pretty haunted.
I would think so. Yeah, lot
It,
of wandering souls.
yeah, and because when the water came up, like where are you gonna run to, right?
It happened so quick too.
Yeah,
They probably
that's
so many of them didn't even know it happened.
yeah, that's why uh when you buy a property, make sure it's not near the ocean, right?
No thanks.
Yeah. Make sure you can hear the ocean, that's fine, right? But if you're near it, yeah, be careful because a tsunami can happen, right? And that's where a lot of crazy stuff happens. Like people in that area usually look up at the sky because the sky is where you see all the UFOs coming around, especially after an earthquake. Major one, a really bad one, they're there like they don't care. You could see them and they're hovering above, and they're near where Fukushima happened. They were near the power plant that time. So yeah, it's a lot of paranormal activity, a lot of uh UFO activity happens in Japan, and mhm, and a lot of ghost ship comes up in the ocean because a lot of fishing vessels come up empty. Their
Yeah,
boat's still intact, but they're not there. They don't
right,
know what happened. And the police comes in, the Coast Guard comes in, police comes in, bring the ship back up to the shore, and they try to research and try to find out what happened. Yeah, you're gonna have an empty book right there.
right, exactly.
It's just really, you see, when you come, you really don't realize all the crazy stuff that's happened in this country in years and years, and it's still happening even to this day. You don't know why. It's just, hmm?
You would think they would build a big wall as
Yeah,
protection when that happens. Close the
yeah.
gates and have some sort of system in place to clear the floodwaters before it gets too bad.
They have a warning system, but it's only 10 minutes, right?
Well,
So
the
what do you
problem
think?
is I've seen some of the videos, some of those places, and how hard it is. Even with a wall, it's gonna hit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's unpredictable how it's gonna go. You know.
yeah. Like Amanda told me that there's gonna be one big huge earthquake that's gonna happen, right? When? We don't know. Where? We don't. Wait, I think they do know. I think they do know. They're just not going to tell
It's
us.
supposed to be somewhere between the island I live in or where you live in.
Mm,
That's all they're
yeah,
saying. Because they said, yeah,
yeah.
because we had an earthquake here,
Hmm.
and which is not normal. Not in
Yeah.
my part, anyways.
Mm-mm.
And then they predicted Japan's gonna have another earthquake here in another day. It was 7.1 when it hit here.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day, Irene in Tokyo, up near Mount Fuji, was the epicenter for the one after that. They're like, yep,
Mhm.
there's that one we told you about.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're saying there is supposed to be another mega quake, supposed to be like a 9.0
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in Japan that's coming. They said they thought they was coming later, but then now they think it's gonna come sooner.
Great.
That's all they're saying, and we're like, okay, great. So everyone's been preparing for
Yeah.
this earthquake that we don't know when it's supposed to actually hit.
Oh,
Irene will
jeez.
tell you, you go to the stores and
There's no toilet
water is
paper.
bought up, rice is bought up.
Yeah. Toilet paper's gone. So-
Yeah, Irene was saying that one time on a show that she went to the store and they couldn't find rice or water. And then I told her, I'm like, it's funny because I went on the next day. I was trying to find something on Japanese Amazon, and it showed me the three top things that was searched for. First one was rice. Second one was water. Then for some odd reason, the third was Pokemon.
Hey, I get it.
I was like, way to have your priorities straight. Oh,
Yeah.
I better get my Pokemon.
What are you gonna do when the quake hits? Pokemon Go.
Yeah, that's what they were. Yeah, I just saw that. I did rice, water, Pokemon. I'm like, way to have your priorities straight, Japan.
Yeah. Like, if there's an earthquake, right? You can't have any. There's no electricity, right? Because you're gonna be sitting in the dark. Okay. So you're gonna be sitting in the dark, and there's no electricity. How are you gonna cook your rice? Okay. On a gas stove? No, there's no gas either, because you won't be able to get any gas because it won't come up. So the gas is cut off, the electricity is cut off. So you're gonna be sitting in the dark, and you're gonna say, "Okay, like, how am I gonna eat this?" Right?
Gonna
Yeah.
eat chomping on some hard rice.
Yeah. Like, crunch, crunch, crunch. Okay.
Could be like cinnamon toast rice.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just really weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, but everyone buys up water, so can't find any
I kind
water
of get
here.
the toilet paper here, though. This is
Yeah.
also what happened during COVID.
Mhm,
Japan doesn't make its own paper; they have to have it exported in
mhm.
for like toilet paper. You also can't. You also won't find paper napkins or anything in restaurants there. It's more of the waxy stuff, Irene.
Yeah.
I call it the wax. We call it the wax because it feels like a waxy thing. I don't know what it's actually made out of,
Yeah. Yeah.
but not paper.
No.
So unfortunately, Japan thinks that when a crisis happens, oh, we're
Mhm.
not going to get any exports in, so we're not going to get toilet paper. So that's when people stock up. And that's
Yeah.
what happened during COVID. Was
Yeah.
they're afraid during COVID they're not going to get any shipments in, so they stocked up on toilet paper just in case. Well, then
Yeah.
United States heard Japan, because Japan went locked down for the United States, so they kind of followed. Then all of a sudden, the United States heard, oh, Japan must know something because now they're stocking up on toilet paper. We better do the same thing. And that's one thing they laugh about is United States, you guys caused your own toilet paper shortage. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
I'd be curious to see during COVID what United States 3 top things were on Amazon.
Yeah,
Mhm.
now I always wondered that now after seeing it's
Yeah.
carrots, rice, water, Pokemon.
Well, yeah, guys, your Pokemon,
Probably
right?
probably cigarettes and I don't know,
Alcohol.
alcohol and drugs. I don't know.
Yeah. But our restaurants open up faster. Like ours open up in the end of March. We were
Yeah,
able to
go ahead.
have dinner.
Well, yeah, our dogs are going crazy. She's checking it out.
Oh,
Make sure somebody didn't try to get in the house.
darn.
I just realized I just realized we're already over an hour. We're just
Yeah.
talking away.
That's
You
what we
see.
said, yeah. I know
Yeah.
it's getting late for you, and you guys got to get your son to
Yeah,
bed.
that's the only thing about being paranormal investigators, having small children, is the bedtimes
Yeah.
and finding babysitters for investigations. But having the haunted homestead we live on, we can
Yeah.
investigate that anytime, and we do sometimes bring him into those things, and he
Mhm.
does seem to enjoy it. With responsibility and only the light stuff. Like a
Mhm.
little conversation, some flashlights or something, but nothing like
Yeah.
terrify him. He loves it. So
I noticed that your place was like that because my cat kept on walking back and forth. He knows
yeah,
your place is haunted, so he wouldn't let me. Sometimes I had to like move your butt, you move your butt. I had to move him over because he won't let me.
it's in our house is only like they'll every once in a while kind of come in the house and
Mhm.
mess around the house, but they typically stay outside because we
Mhm.
tell them to.
Mhm.
But every once in a while, the more playful ones, it seems, kind of come in and just kind of poke at us and play with us when we're sleeping,
Mhm.
especially because they're more
Mhm.
active at night anyway. But
Mhm.
I mean, they're active 24 hours a day here, but I see it like at nighttime is when they really want to play with us inside the house.
Yeah.
They'll poke at her. Last
Mhm.
night, that's why I've been up since 12:30 this morning. Is that I woke up abruptly to being like something like shaking me awake, and I thought it was
Oh.
her, and she was dead asleep, and I was like, okay, all right then. They wanted to talk or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Usually they want something, okay?
Yeah,
So
well, I
if
was
you ask
like,
the
I'm not in the mood.
yeah, if you ask the right questions, they'll give you an answer.
Yeah.
And if you do something that'll help them,
Hmm.
they might feel a lot. You might be able to get more sleep. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Well, I've like been out there and I've offered to cross some of them over if they want to
Mm.
find that piece.
Mm.
They a lot of them seem to want to just they're kind of happy where they are.
Yeah. Actually, they're
So
not done
they
yet.
always
So
have that option, but
yeah.
they like to hang out.
Hmm.
uh, Endless amounts of them. You see where we live historically is like a Native American traveling path and spot, and then it was the early settlers in the early 1700s and stuff, and that's kind of where we
Hmm.
are. That's our
Hmm.
property. We've actually just recently our chickens dug up some pottery, Native American pottery.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And
Wow.
so
Interesting.
yeah, so we got a lot, like I've spoken to a Native American spirit here before. there's
Hmm.
we've names out the wazoo we get. I also think there could potentially be, whether you believe it or not, I don't even know if I do 100%, potentially a portal here, we don't know,
Hmm.
for them just to kind of walk in and out of, for them to be
Hmm.
so many of them,
Hmm.
but we don't know.
Mm. It'll
Lake
be
Shawnee
interesting to find
is
out.
on my bucket list there.
Oh, but
It'll be
speaking of the
interesting to
haunted
find out.
homestead, our
Yeah.
dog was just showing signs of activity.
Mm. Yeah. Especially at nighttime.
Hmm.
I find that they don't care whether it's night or daytime. They'll come out, right?
Oh yeah, they when they want to talk, they do everything they can to get our attention.
That's what I was telling them.
Like
It's
Like,
now,
interesting. Yeah.
provoking our dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Provoking our dogs because we're not paying attention to them. Pretty much, they really want
Yeah.
attention. That's what it is.
Yeah.
you guys keep an EMF meter on at all times.
Not on at all
We have
times,
one easily accessible.
but
We can
accessible.
grab.
Yeah, all the equipment is just right here to grab anytime we need it.
Mm. Okay. Um.
I know Lake Shawnee is on my bucket list over there just because even with there's been there's been so many mysterious deaths there, and then they
Oh yeah.
found out, including some of the original owners, but they found out from when they're remodeling and digging stuff up, they found, I think it was on an Indian burial ground. So that probably also explains,
Yeah, they did discover that.
yeah, that's probably why there's been so many mysterious deaths there.
Nice, Laura.
Mm.
We're gonna have to do this
Anyways, guys,
again.
Yes, we'll have to have you on for a part 2, maybe a part 3,
Maybe a
Mhm.
part 20. Let's do it.
part 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Thank
just
you
talked to
so
the spirits on your land. I told them that they're okay with you there and you respect their land, so not to worry about it. And they understood and they said, okay.
Okay. Well, we
They're,
like that and we appreciate that.
they're good. You're
Thank you,
good.
Irene.
Yeah. They're okay. They just didn't want anybody disrespecting their land and their property.
That's the last
So
thing we do.
yeah,
We take good
so
care of it.
yeah. You're okay.
Well,
They're
thank
okay.
you.
Yeah. So
thank you so much for joining us. We'll have to
yeah.
schedule it
Yeah,
again.
it was great, guys. Thanks for having
Yeah.
us.
And anyways, got everyone. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye for
Thank
now.
you.